Hello everybody, welcome back to Big Bear Automations, and we are now on day 10 already of learning n8n in a year. If you don't know what this series is, please go back to day 1, start again, set up all your n8n, n8n, and understand what we're trying to do here. We're trying to learn together, we're trying to go all the way back and start from the beginning. God, jeez. Today we are going to be doing a deep dive into the heart of n8n, and that is nodes. What they are, what we do with them, what they mean, etc, etc. Okay, so if you've been following along, you've seen that nodes in action, but today we're going to really understand what they are, how they work, and most importantly, how they talk to each other. By the end of this video, you'll understand the autonomy of a node, and we'll be able to troubleshoot when things go wrong. Don't forget to hit subscribe, the ring notification, like, comment, get involved, please. If you don't like the content, say something. If you do, say something. It's the best way for me to learn. So what you guys need. So just please get involved. So what exactly is a node? Think of a node as a single worker in your automation factory. Each node has one specific job to do. So a good example would be a pizza restaurant, right? We have a worker that takes the order, which is the trigger node. We have another worker that makes the pizza. That's the action node or action nodes. And then we have a supervisor deciding what toppings we want based on the order, and that's a logic node. So decide your toppings, make the pizza, and send it on. So in n8n, and we'll come into this test workflow. Actually, no, we won't quite like that one, so we'll keep that one. We'll create another one. So in n8n, every node, trigger node, doesn't matter, every node will receive a data input. Not that one, that's probably the one that doesn't. The input is actually you triggering it. But if we do a web call and we listen for an event, we have the input and or receives data, the input, and then it processes that data in however way we've chosen it to do it, and then we have an output. So for this one, is the input is someone's got the get request, it's come through, we didn't need any auth, we haven't done anything with it, it's just outputting. And obviously every node has specific settings that you can configure that helps your node understand what you want to do with the data. And the magic happens is when you chain all these different nodes together, data flows from one side to the next, getting transformed, filtered, or acted on at each stage, and comes out the other end with something meaning and tangible that you need to create for your user, for another workflow, for your needs, right? Just whatever you need it for. So there's 3 main categories of nodes. I think I may have a visualization. Oh no, I've missed this one. Data processing funnel. Data input, data reception, data processing, data output, process data. There you go. There's a nice visualization for you. Look at that. Beautiful. So there's 3 types of nodes. Every node in n8n falls into one of the 3 categories. So we've got triggers. Trigger nodes are your workflow arms. So workflow alarms, sorry. They wake up your automation when something happens. Your webhooks, your manual clicks, your crons that we've been through. All of these alert the workflow that, come on guys, it's time to pick yourself up and do something. So it's the first domino, right? Once they're activated, they set everything else in motion. The next category is your action nodes. Action nodes do things, like they're your workhorses. They send emails, they create database records, they post to social media, they call APIs. Like action nodes are the heart of what your workflow is doing, and they take data from previous nodes and do something with it and produce something as an output. You then have logic slash control nodes, however you want to call it. And logic nodes are your workflow brain. They make decisions, manipulate data, and control the flow. Things like if state, the if node, the switch, the set, the merge, the code. These guys. If, switch, set, merge node, code node. So it makes yes and no decisions, routes data based on different pathways. The set transforms or adds data. The merge node combines data from multiple sources. And the code node, which is probably my favorite node, runs custom JavaScript. It is beautiful. We will go through it. So these nodes don't usually interact with external services. They don't really call APIs. What they do is run on the data that's provided to them and output it in a certain way. That they are very useful and they're used all the time, and something that you need to wrap your head around. We will go through each of these step by step, and there will be a video on each of these as we go. Okay, so how do nodes connect and share data? So let's talk about how nodes actually work together in n8n. Data flows through connections like the water through your pipes, right? So if we've got a trigger, a manual trigger, and we have set data, and we're going to call this name, and the value is going to be big bear. Test that. Okay, cool. The next one, we're going to set data again. This time, we're going to add another one that says name 2. And we're going to have an expression that's going to bring in big bear, and it's going to say 2. Test that step, and you get your name 2, which is your big bear 2, which is using that input from this field, taking it in, formatting it in the way that it needs to, manipulating it a little bit, and then giving you the output of the new name that we can then use again. So your data flows from left to right. Each node can only execute after the previous one finishes. The output of one node becomes the input of the next node. Again, you can still call nodes previously, but anything in front, after, won't be able to call the data from there. So the execution order is this: trigger node first. Yep. Then following the connections. One node must finish before the next. And then parallel branches can run simultaneously. So if you add 2 branches here, let's just add another set. Name. Why can't I type name today? Name 3. Like so. Oh, no, that didn't work. I'm gonna have to use an if. Okay, edit that out. Okay, so if you go over to your execution and click on your execution, it will load eventually. And this will show you the data being passed through. So there's been one item passed through to the next. You can copy that to the editor. You can then see what was passed and when it was used. And you can just see what the inputs and the outputs were across, good for error handling, etc. We've gone through the execution logs and stuff. So let's dissect a node and see what's inside. So let's just double click on to this one. In your node, you have normally an input, an output, and you have parameters, whatever those parameters are. Obviously, different nodes are different, and then all of the settings for that particular node. On the left-hand side, for example, you have schema, table, or JSON. So you can see what information is coming in. It's probably not a good example. Table or JSON, depending on what you want to do. Schema is probably the most used one, and JSON, just because one, it's easy to copy, and then two, you drag and drop the name when you need it, or in this example name, when you need it from the schema. So if it was an input and you needed it, you can drag that. If you needed the JSON, you can just copy it and paste that into AI to say, give me a code that does this. Very easy. But if you wanted that again, you just drag it in, right? It's very simple. Obviously, you could type it out, but why? You wouldn't need to. So you've got your input. Again, output's the same, and you can see what's coming on out the other side. You've got your settings, your parameters. Again, they're different for each one, but mainly you can go through and mess around with these as you need on error. You can tell it what to do when it errors. You can retry and fail. You can say how many times you want it to retry. You can execute once. You can duplicate the item and how many times you want to duplicate it. You can always output data, which if it was to fail, it will still give you something. And then display no inflow, which is whether you want that or not. One thing you want to have a look at is if you go to execution, you can see how many execution seconds it took. So 15 milliseconds, obviously this is very short, so it's rapid. But if this is starting to go up, you can start understanding why. You can go in and have a look. What took it so long? If it's really complicated code, it might be worth breaking it down a little bit more. If there's a API call that's taking forever, you can go and sort that out. Maybe filter it a bit more so it's not as intensive. Okay. So what's really happening behind the scenes here is all the data in n8n flows as JSON. So if we see this is JSON format. If you're not familiar with JSON format, I will be doing a video on it. Just JSON alone. Again, use your AI, use your ChatGPTs, use your Geminis, use your Claudes, and you can just get it into a format you need. So you can come over to ChatGPT and ask for a user JSON structure for testing. Copy that. Come over to your set, change it from manual mapping to JSON, paste in your JSON, test that step, and then you've got mock data that you can mess around with. So this JSON structure is like a filing cabinet, right? Each piece of information has a label and a value with it. And you can access these pieces of information later down your workflow. So another example would be if you wanted to use the name, you just do json.user.name. And again, if you wanted profile bio, json.user.profile, again, it gives you for you. But if you wanted to change that, you could say dot location, for example. You wouldn't have to drag it in. You could change it or like that if you wanted to. So we've learned, let's do a little wrap up of what we've learned today. So what nodes are, and they're three types. So triggers, action, logic. How data flows between nodes, left to right. The autonomy of a node, settings, parameters, input, outputs. How to troubleshoot, so go to your executions, go and have a look at the times, see what's happening, look at your errors. Tomorrow, or day 11, we're going to be looking at working with static data using the set node. So if this has helped, you understand your nodes better, smash that like button for me, please. Subscribe, get involved, comment, ask if you want any workflows built. Let's go through it together. I'm more than happy for notes. That makes me learn, makes me better at what I'm trying to do. If you are a business and you need help with n8n, your AI agent setup, all that sort of stuff, I do this. So please reach out to me on this email address here. And I will see you for day 11. Day 10 already, guys. Thank you.